Hey guys, Station X here, and I bought all of these retro Nintendo games at GameStop, and we're gonna not only go through all of these here today, but we're gonna just see how much I spent on here. Now, when you go to GameStop, you're mainly there for the newer titles. You don't really go there for retro stuff. Now, they had the ability to sell retro games for a while now. They announced it, I want to say 2014 or so, and they were just kind of doing that for the online store portion. But recently they have had a lot more stores where they have them in the store, the physical locations, and they had basically this entire pile here where we have Super Nintendo, NES, some N64, and even a little bit of Genesis and Game Boy here. We got a nice variety going on with this. Now, we're going to just go through each and every one, saving the biggest pile here, the Super Nintendo, for last. And we're just kind of going to start with the smallest pile, the N64. Now, I have FIFA 98, NBA Live 2000, Pokemon Snap, and 1080 Snowboarding. Now, really, honestly, the only one that really means a lot here is the Pokemon Snap. Now, I have the Nintendo Switch version, never really had the original personally, although I have played it at other people's houses, but this is a fun time. Adore the Nintendo Switch version, and so finally being able to have the N64 version is just pretty neat. Plus, I do believe that it is on the NSO. At least there's that. You can play it that way and not have to track this down, but, you know, having the original cartridge isn't too bad either. Then we're just gonna move on to the Game Boy, which we have Donkey Kong Land 1 and 3, as well as Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the original, Metroid 2 Return of Samus, and believe me, this will not be the last time we see Metroid in this, Wario Land 1, also known as Super Mario Land 3, and lastly, Wario Land 2. Now, out of these, I would say probably the Metroid 2 and Link's Awakening are my favorites here in this pile, specifically the Zelda. These two kind of make it closer for me to have every Metroid and every Zelda game out there. Next up, we'll take a look at the Sega Genesis, because they did also have Genesis here, so even though it's not quite retro Nintendo games, I figured we show it off. Here we have Rocket Knight Adventures, pretty cool. Earthworm Jim, also pretty cool. Cool Spot, which is even more cool. And of course, these have the original cases and stuff. Some of them do have the manuals, which I know one of these do. All right, this one I know has the manual. There we go. X-Men. I was like, one of these has the manual, but here's a better shot of the cover. X-Men. So that's pretty cool. But no, I always liked the Genesis cases just because they had the foresight to actually use plastic cases instead of cardboard. But now moving on to the NES, the second biggest pile in this set. And here we have good old Battletoads, which is just kind of funny how I got this at a GameStop, and here it is. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, another very infamous game on the NES. McKids, a McDonald's game, which is just very hilarious. Here we have Metroid, the original one on NES. I only ever had this on the NES Classic, so having another, like the actual physical one, just brings me, again, that much closer to having all the Metroid games. Of course, also we have Excite Bike, along with Metroid. This is one of the original black box sets, although Metroid's was silver, but for a while they had like the black box with the pixel sprites on it, which was really like an iconic look for the NES. I kind of wish it kept it throughout the NES's life, but I can understand why it didn't stick. Here we have Zada's Revenge, Star Tropics 2. One's a nice one. Here you can see I didn't take the stickers off of this one. Gradius, which some of these also have seen better days, man. I did not get a chance to clean these off, but whoever had these originally did not take good care of them. You have Simpsons Bart versus the Space Mutants, which, I mean, if I had to pick a Simpsons game, probably either the arcades or the one released for Xbox 360 and PS3 would be better. And let me just get this one out of the way here too. The Simpsons Bartman versus Radioactive Man. 2 Simpsons games on the NES, pretty neat. Last but certainly not least, Friday the 13th, made by the lovely LJN. You gotta love it. This one's another iconic one, but maybe not for all the best reasons, but still, like, a pretty notable name on the NES. That leaves all the NES games. Of course, if I had to pick a favorite here, the 2 I would pick are Excitebike and Metroid. These are classics, and again, I'm pretty sure this one also was on the NES Classic. I don't remember, but this one, like, they're just both awesome. Now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the Super Nintendo games. Now we have a bunch here, so we're gonna get through this. The first one I want to kind of look at is one that I kind of have a hard time pronouncing the name just because I can barely read the way it says on here. I think it's Act Razor. I'm not too sure. I just saw it there, thought it was cool, and had to get it. I mean, I was gonna buy all the retro games that they had in stock anyway. Because you know me, I'm big on completing sets. We have Earthworm Jim for Super Nintendo, so we have both now. As long as we also have the second one as well. And we have the little dust covers that these come with, so that's pretty neat too. Gradius 3, which is nice. I'm just missing the second one now. Sequel, where we have Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. These are classic movies, and well, I'm not too sure about the games. You can see who made it, THQ Inc., which I did not know that they made games for Super Nintendo. So the more you know. Here on this pile we have Joe and Mac. Another one I've never heard of before, but we have it here for Super Nintendo. This one's a classic, The Lion King. I do have the Nintendo Switch port of it with the Jungle Book and Aladdin, which is nice just because now I have one of the original cartridges for those games. Here's an interesting one because Mario Missing, of course, isn't necessarily made by Nintendo themselves, but it is also a Mario game, and it's one of the few times they've done that. And I do believe there's one of this for the NES as well, but it's just, this is an interesting one for sure. I have Marvel Superheroes and War of the Gems, so that one's neat. I'm a big fan of Marvel. Never heard of this one before. Here we have Legend of the Legend of the Mystical Ninja. This cartridge has, again, seen better days. This one's gonna need a deep cleaning on this, but I just hate when people take care of their games like this because of the fact that it just is really annoying to kind of clean it afterwards. Street Fighter 2, this is, I believe, the original Street Fighter 2, no turbo, new challengers, whatever. This is just straight up Street Fighter 2, which is interesting. Hopefully I can get the rest of them. I do believe I actually have Street Fighter 2 Turbo already, so this is going to be another Street Fighter game to add to the collection. We have Super Adventure Island, another neat one. Again, another one. I have the NES game, Adventure Island. That one I have in the box and everything. And so now I have the Super Nintendo version. And lastly, but certainly not least, Super Metroid. Now, again, this, just like the original Metroid and Metroid 2, brings me just, again, one step closer to completing the entire Metroid series, which is one of the goals of mine. And while this is a kind of player's choice labeled one, I personally don't care. It doesn't matter to me because I usually get the custom game cases anyway for these. And here are my 2 picks for the Super Nintendo. Of course, Super Metroid and Street Fighter 2. These are really good games on the system. Now that we got all that out of the way, now the big question is, how much did I spend on this? Now, here's a couple things to keep in mind here. The fact that I bought these at GameStop, I do have their membership, which very much helped because they have a thing with pre-owned games. So that lowered the price a bit, as well as because of the fact that I had that membership, it was during one of their biggest sales of the week, Pro Week. So that, of course, again helped the fact because they also had a promotion during that week where it was buy 2 get 1 free. So that also helped. So there's a lot of things to bring the cost down, because honestly, this could have easily been about $500-600 bucks. But the grand total for this was $426. I have it somewhere on the screen here, all woohoo! But yeah, $426. That's not a small number to just kind of sneeze at, but definitely cheap considering, like I said, could have been a lot worse. And the fact that I got some of these for free, not too shabby if I don't say so myself. But that'll pretty much be it for today's video. What do you guys think? Do you like what I got here? Do you think I got a good haul? And do you agree with some of my picks for what I had here for these retro Nintendo games? Let me know in the comments below. As well, if you did enjoy my content, want to support me even further, a like and subscribe does help out the channel. I've been Station X, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Baby,